Good morning from Germany. It has been now 5 days since the Haute Route Triple Crown. What an amazing experience. I'm severely suffering currently from post-race blues. Yeah, it started all with the Haute Route Pyrenees, then the Alps, and then the Dolomites, accumulating to 2,650 kilometers and over 62,000 meters of climbing. Yeah, that's a lot of time in the saddle. 3 weeks. And a lot of things which could go right and could go wrong. Now I've learned along those times, those stages, a lot of lessons, which I would love to share with you, and might help for, in general, for stage racing, for the Haute Route and Haute Route Triple Crown. The first thing is trying to get ready for it. I think for me, like let's consider average rider, 6+ hours in the saddle every single day. No stage is easy. If you consider still an uphill time trial easy, then this is your recovery day, but still Abdues is Abdues. And that was one of our recovery days. So to get ready for something like that means long days in the saddle, long hard days in the saddle back to back. It's one thing to race one day and then call it a day the next day and just sitting on the couch. It's another day when you're going back to back to back, and it might not be the first day which gets you, it might not be the second one, but probably the third one you're really feeling actually what you've done in the last 2 days. So training that not just physically but also mentally, getting excited every morning, waking up at 5:30 in the morning and getting ready for a tough stage, and 6+ hours of riding. That is definitely what I would recommend. Another thing is also weather conditions. We had anything from 40 degrees in the shade to 5 degrees in rain. There was one day which they canceled due to snow and because it became unsafe, but otherwise there's no reason to cancel a stage because of bad weather. So get out and train also in less ideal weather conditions. That would definitely help to get ready for a race like Haute Route. Another thing is strength training. Since, for example, the Pyrenees, but also the Dolomites, they have very, very steep sections in there. And especially when they're coming at day 3 or towards the end of those stage races, you're already fatigued. So in general, your position on the bike might be not like perfect anymore, especially when it's then 6 hours into the ride. Being strong enough for those kind of climbs, for 12, 13, 15% climbs for a long time, that is key. And having the strength to do it, that is definitely helpful to avoid injuries. And then food intake. Yes. Just imagine what are you eating 3 days or 4 days, 5 days into the ride? Will you be still eating gels or something else? And when it's something else, what would it be? Will it be is it something special you are looking forward to, or is there you can eat everything? I think that still should be something just to consider. I've tried to avoid gels as much as possible, and they had fruits there, tuck crackers, cheese, turkey, cold cut, much more cake and stuff, I guess. So if that's one of those things you love, maybe even train with it. After 5 hours, how does it sit in the stomach? That definitely would help to avoid some unwanted problems along the way. Now, the next thing is to get there, to get to Haute Route. I'm not sure if I know the solution to it, but what I've heard from a lot of riders from all 3 races is that some of the airplanes, some of them didn't make it to actually the start line. In fact, actually, especially people coming from overseas, Australia or the States, having your bike somewhere stuck in an airport, they haven't received it until maybe 5 days into the race. And then, since we are traveling with Haute Route, you're not standing in one, you're not in one location to actually getting the bike there where we are currently, that was a very tough one. So maybe have a backup plan in case your bike doesn't make it. And I would also recommend helmet, shoes, and things like this having in your hand luggage rather than taking it as a checked bag. Shipping, maybe. Not sure. I was lucky to have the bag there, and many more have it too. But in case it doesn't, what is the backup plan? Just something to think about. In regards to bike preparation, I have started the Pyrenees with the 1128 cassette. After 2 days, I changed it to a 32 because I had major knee and back injuries, back problems from just the steep climbs. So if you just already think like, holy shit, from like a 15% climb or 13% climb, which goes on for kilometers, if that is already something which gives you a headache, I would definitely suggest coming, for example, to the Pyrenees with a 32, even the Dolomites. The Alps are a little bit more gentle in regards to and longer for the climbs, but the Dolomites and especially the Pyrenees, very steep climbs. I mean, very good pitches. Yeah, I just remember in the Dolomites we had, I don't know, on day 4, the first climb, it was all black. Black meaning there were parts really that was 15%, and we had one 18% section. So that by itself is not bad, but just think about it after 5 days or 6 days of racing. How do you approach that one? Would 32 maybe be better, or maybe something higher? It's of course all individual. Yeah, the thing wheels is, I must admit I'm not the best descender, and carbon wheels would be, or carbon braking surface would be, blew up my wheels in a different race actually. So I came up with aluminum wheels, and I would even suggest disc brakes if there's a chance, because everything goes up, goes also down. Especially for those who might not be used to auto descending. So yeah, just another thing to consider about what kind of braking surface you want to have. One more touchy subject is saddle sore. I know, although this is not very much talked about, it definitely exists, especially when you're having conditions like rain or hot, sweaty conditions. I would just suggest take whatever what works for you, take it with you, maybe an extra tube as well, because otherwise that would be very unpleasant, and you never know. Sometimes we were arriving in the middle of, on a mountain town where nothing is open, and if you want to wait for things like this might not be the best way. So it's just something, to maybe pack. It doesn't weigh that much. During the race, I find this is always to keep in mind, this is not a 1-day race. This is a 7-day or 21-day race. So the most important thing is to pacing yourself, especially on day 1 when everyone is excited. I had to remind myself about that too. Until the last 2 days of then the Dolomites, I always had to go more the conservative route. Especially, it's not just also physical strain, but also mentally. When you're putting yourself into suffering stage day in, day out, can you keep it up that way? And if you don't feel like all of a sudden getting up and going for it, what is your backup plan for it? So, pace yourself. You might see those people around you, maybe not on that day, but maybe tomorrow or the following day. So that is one advice I would give. And then also, for those like me who are not racing for the win, but really just being out there and challenge, my own challenge, and being out there is look around, enjoy it. I mean, those are the most beautiful places in Europe. The Pyrenees, the French Alps, and the Dolomites. Really, you're going through passes. It's incredible. And I mean, those are Tour de France, Giro d'Italia passes. So instead of staring at a pavement, trying to maybe, beat Strava, maybe also look around and enjoy the scenery. For the Triple Crown races, I have another Another advice, the best piece for the Triple Crown is the cray blade. That's basically a license to go slow. The license to saying, okay, I've done maybe 7 or 21, 14 days beforehand already, so I'm maybe a little bit more exhausted. It was, and people, yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to have, let's say this. The other thing is also what I realized during the Triple Crown is actually it didn't get harder, it got easier. By the Dolomites, there was nothing too much what actually got to me anymore. There were not so many surprises. I've had already my worst day before I had my best day, and now it's more just like, okay, Monica, today I feel great, let's go for it. Or I don't feel good, okay, what can I do to minimize all the pain? So, yeah, by then, I feel like you know already what to eat, you know already what to drink, you know the drill of how to take your bags into the room. So everything actually becomes more routine and becomes actually easier. Plus, 3 weeks after, yeah, do you see the same people over and over? And I hope we made great connections to them on day 1, day 2 in the first week, because those people you will see on the week 3 as well. So, and there's then it really becomes a family, and those are the people who you're looking forward to actually when you're climbing up a mountain, saying, ah, yeah, that was that person or that person. So that makes a huge difference. And so I would definitely say if you're going for the Triple Crown, the first week might be you really doubting yourself how you can do it for the next 2 weeks, but once you're in the rhythm and just going with it, enjoying every single day as it is, enjoying every climb as it is, it's an incredible experience, and yeah, it becomes rather easier than harder. So I hope those lessons I've learned in those 3 weeks of Haute Route Triple Crown can help you as well. Maybe not just for the Haute Route, but in general stage racing. Yeah, have a great day and talk to you soon.